Shalom Zion's family, we're making gumbo as our prep day meal. This is my chicken with seasoning, all-purpose seasoning, that's all. Now we have our okra. We're going to cut with some onion, season. Oops, I'm always being goofy. So there's garlic powder. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of onion powder, along with a little bit of all-purpose seasoning. I'm going to cook this down just a little bit, not completely done, but just begin the cooking process. And this is my homemade allspice or season oil that I make up myself. It has a little bit of everything in there, okay? A little cayenne pepper. Yeah, I've done a video about this already. Check the playlist for that. So we're just going to allow this to cook down, and I'm going to go ahead and add in a moment a little bit of avocado oil to bring a little bit more of that essence to our seasonings. I'm also going to put in this gumbo some beef sausage. You see it going there. I'm steaming it. So you want to cook that okra down really well, but not completely done, family. You don't want to overcook it because this is going to go into your gumbo that's going to need to simmer and blend and marry and combine all of these flavors together, okay? Just a little bit more of that avocado oil. Now you see I'm going to add in a little bit of pure ground gumbo filet. I don't measure. I'm sorry. I do everything to sight, taste, and touch. So I can't give you any measurements here. I do leave the bones into my gumbo while it initially cooks, and all of those flavorings, and I can get that bone marrow from my chicken. I'll then pull it out later. Let's add a little bit of diced tomatoes. If you make your own, add your own. You'll notice the chicken will cook and fall off the bone, and that's exactly what you want. Now I'm going to come in with a little bit of shrimp and crab boil. It's only the spice. It doesn't have the shrimp and the crab in it. It's only a little bit of a heat to it. It has just a little bit of a kick. For those of you who do the seafood boil, you're familiar with that. So now we're just going to blend everything and let it come to a good little simmer. As you can see now, the okra is near where I want it to be. And then I'll just go ahead next and add it to our pot to allow these vegetables and these herbs and spices to all marry and combine. I'm going to add in an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. Family, you can see where I've added the okra to this soup, because that's essentially what a gumbo is. It's a soup. We're going to allow that to simmer. Now add the sausages. I've cut them, and I've added draining it and adding it to my gumbo now. And I do this to cut down on the greasiness that sausage can sometimes bring to your gumbo. Don't become alarmed. Your chicken will sink and come to the bottom. Now this is the beginnings of my roux. You can do a roux several ways. You can add oil. I don't want to add any oil because I don't want to introduce any of that to my gumbo. So I'm going to mix all-purpose flour with a little bit of cornstarch to thicken that gravy or that essence of our gumbo, okay? And I just brown it in a cast iron skillet. I add no oils to this. You'll see that it'll get a little bit darker. I'm sorry that my camera does not bring that color up even more. And also, when making your roux, it does cook away that rawness of your flour taste, that floury taste. It's going to cook that down, and somehow it just brings about a very good essence. So this is a natural roux. Now that my roux have reached the color and consistency that I'm pleased with, I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle that right on over into our gumbo. And don't worry about it. It's not going to clump because the pot is hot. It's still cooking, and your roux is also hot. So once you pour it in or sprinkle it in as I just did and mix that, it will slowly break down and thicken your gravy of your gumbo, okay? So don't worry about that clumping because it will not. And you'll notice on the end of this video, you won't see any of those bones left in my gumbo because by then I would have taken all of the bones out, and all you're left with is just the goodness of that meat, your sausage, your okra, and the flavoring that you've added to your gumbo. Bon appetit. I'm showing you, family, just to stir it all up real good. You don't see any of that roux sitting on top. You don't see that it's clumping. I just put the lid back on and let it simmer for about another 10-15 minutes, and it will sit and thicken all on its own. It becomes an absolute yummy. This dish can be served over rice. It can be served over white rice as well as brown rice. The Louisiana folk usually put theirs over potato salad. That's your choice. This is your preference. Do with it as you will. We use white rice. And this is showing you that that has thickened, and the longer it sits, the thicker it will become. Now, it won't become thick like brown gravy. That's not what you were going for. You only want to thicken that your fluids, your liquids, just enough to grab a hold to your rice. Now let's plate that, family, and show you all of this yummy essence and goodness. In the bowl, I've already put in about half a cup of rice. Now I'm going to just ladle in my gumbo, my sausage, my okra, my cheese. I'm saying cheese lion. My okra, my sausage, my chicken, and all of my vegetables, my tomatoes. If you are one who eats seafood, that's your choice. Over here, we don't do seafood. So let the good times roll, baby.